I finished 6 books in the month of March 24th, so let's go over them and my thoughts. As always, you can find everything that I'm reading and rating in real time by following me on Goodreads. You can also find all of my Christian reviews pretty soon here over at the Journey We Share podcast, which is linked down below. I'm also on Instagram and on TikTok, so make sure to follow me in all of the places, and let's go ahead and get into this weekly reading recap. The first book I finished was A Full Act of Love, and that was Voyager, which is the 3rd book in the Outlander series. Now, I have been slowly, and I do mean so painfully slowly, reading these books in order, and they are very long. This book, to its deceptive power, is 870 pages. It is like 43 hours. It is by far the longest book that I read in the last month. It's massive, it's gargantuan, it's over the top. So please hear me when I say I recognize that this is a full act of love to Jamie and Claire and their love story. However, this is also the best book I've read so far in the series, and I really looked forward to the 10% every single day and was sad when I put it down. So for that reason, I rated it 4.5 stars. I haven't read Shari LaPeña's work yet. I was super excited to check her out because I have heard great things about her books, and this was a very interesting first book for her. I think that it had a very unique twist, one that I think a lot of people probably would not have seen coming. I did guess a bit of the twist, but not completely by the end of it. And I do think that it had a few POVs too much for me and was a teeny tiny bit confusing because the stories kind of intertwined in a very interesting way. However, I still had a fun time and I rated it 4 stars. I finished an immersive read of the 5th season. I was hoping to actually read this in February and having read the 2nd book in March, but here we are. Alas, the luck. At the very last week of March, I read this book. It is a bit intense. I think it has a lot happening. Also, the timelines are not all happening at the same time, so it is a lot to kind of learn an entire world and developmental storyline and magic system and do all of that in conjunction with learning different timelines. However, very interesting story, and I'm super excited to check out more in this series. I rated it 3.5 stars. I then picked up The Bright Years, and this is an arc that comes out at the end of April, and oh my gosh, pick it up for yourself, please. Please. If you are a historical fiction person, if you like Kristen Hanna, if you need a good cry, this right here is your book. Also, look at that flop factor, okay? Okay? I know you really want to read this book now, just because of the flop factor, but I'm going to tell you that this book is so impressively well done. I cried so hard at the end of this book that I literally woke up my husband. He thought something was wrong. It was not, just this book. The book is just gonna sit with me for a while. These characters, I was in their lives, okay? I will think about these characters for years and years and years to come. I absolutely adored this book, this writing, this whole idea and the story, and yeah, 5 stars. The last fiction book that I finished for the week was The Ministry in Time. I was super excited to check this out. I did listen to it solely on audio. However, not much happens in this book, okay? Not much goes on. And at the same time, I think that there's like a whole part of the time travel which is confusing, and I didn't know where we were or why we were there or how it happened, and that was also really, really weird. I ultimately did not appreciate the love story. Like, I did not care for the love story that was happening in this book, and I felt like the ending fell flat, so I rated it 2.5 stars. It wasn't for me. However, it's got rave reviews on Goodreads, so maybe I'm crazy. And then my nonfiction read for the month was Toxic Empathy by Allie Beth Stuckey. Now, Allie Beth Stuckey is very strong in her opinions of Christian nationalism and Christian conservative values. She very clearly shares exactly how she feels and why she votes the way she does. And I think that this book is just kind of a continuation of that. I picked it up because I like to learn from people who may think differently than I do and may give me different insight into why they think that way. That's exactly what this book did. I chose not to rate it, and yeah, it was her opinion, so there you go. So those are the 6 books that I finished in the last week. I would love to know down below what you're reading or read last week. Let me know down in the comments. As always, you can find all of those links to contact me down there as well, and I love you. Bye.